may have noticed that it's been some time since we've released a new short film. That's because I became a dad, and now these trips are a little different. We visit our family in northeast Minnesota every couple years, which is a great excuse to fly with some of the local pilots in a region known for incredible float flying. We arrived in the Twin Cities by commercial airline, rented a car, and headed north to my brother-in-law's house on Long Lake in Eveleth. My first stop in the area is always Sky Harbor on Ely Lake, a storied floatplane base that's a local favorite for the annual change from wheels to floats and back. While I was trying my hardest to put out the feelers and make plans with local pilots, Mother Nature had other things in mind. The weather took a turn for the worse and some big thunderstorms moved through the area, making for some unfriendly flying conditions. All I could do was watch the forecast and wait. On the tail of the storms was wind, days of sustained strong wind. No one wanted to fly. Schedules were busted. I kept working the internet to pad my chances of flying with someone. And then, more wind. The news showed damage from a tornado that had touched down in Brainerd just 80 miles to the west. People were calling to cancel flying plans. And while I was disappointed, it allowed us to spend some time doing other equally important activities. Just when I started to feel the cabin fever kicking in, the scare owl looked deep into my soul as if to say, "Wait, just what does the range mean? There isn't much for mountains here, but see that huge hole down there? That's the Hull Rust Mine. This is iron country. The Mesabi Range refers to the narrow vein of iron ore and taconite that stretches from Babbitt all the way down to Grand Rapids. It's been continuously mined to supply American industry for more than a century and is a large part of the culture in this area of Minnesota. And even though the wind continued to howl, tomorrow held promise of a perfect weather forecast. On day 5, I woke early to the beautiful sight of fog. That may sound bad, but it meant that the wind was calm and would likely burn off soon. I drove west to the town of Hibbing, where my friend Ryan Nelson got the day off to an exciting start in his Wilga. First stop of the day was the Jarenson airstrip in the community of Side Lake. The legend of Super Cub pilot David Jarenson is known well beyond the borders of Minnesota. Though my first visit to the airstrip he cut from the Side Lake brush came 6 years after he lost his battle with cancer.
We'll continue to keep up the strip as long as I'm here. It'll be here, and his legacy will be here forever. It's as long as we can do it, we'll do it.
David's memory is continually celebrated by visiting pilots in an annual Memorial Fall Colors Tour flyout event.
My name is Shelley Jarenson. I was David's wife.
And I'm Jeannie Jarenson, David's mom.
David was an unbelievable pilot. He was strong, he was sincere, he was safe, and all together in the pilot community, he was known very well for his love and passion for flying.
I think because he was so young when he passed away that there's going to be just a huge amount of people that are going to remember him for who he was for years and years, like years after I'm gone.
And on a day like this, Ryan and I could think of no better way to celebrate David's memory than to burn some gas in this Wilga. An insect-like import from Poland, the PZL 104 Wilga 35 is simply a beast on trailing link gear legs. Armed with an upgraded 360 horsepower Vedenev M14 supercharged radial, swinging a massive 94-inch prop, the 4-seat STOL machine really is a sweet-mannered flyer, likely thanks to its leading-edge slats and massive flap-coupled drooping ailerons. And it is very thirsty for both fuel and oil. Ryan swung the prop through a few times to clear any pooled oil before climbing in and bumping the Wilga's compressed air starter. We said our goodbyes to the nice folks at Jerenson's and flew west to visit another of Ryan's friends, retired airline captain and J3 Cub pilot Lee Anderson. Anderson is a gentleman pilot. The first thing he did was offer us a cold Coke and gave us a short tour of his beautiful Bear River airstrip property. I often think that this is the dream fully lived, until I'm reminded how amazing water flying is.
I'm just going to come straight in there. You want to just grab it, make sure the wing doesn't hit the top of the boat there.
Morning. All right.
Full flying, spark aerobatics.
Spark gymnastics.
Our final day on the range saw a crisp, clear, and sunny morning. I'd talked Gary into flying up from Montevideo to pick me up at my brother-in-law's dock on Long Lake. We took off for the quick hop over to Sky Harbor on Ely Lake where we'd meet Patrick in his Sky Wagon. Blasted out of Sky Harbor, and after getting our bearings, we joined up en route with a third pilot, Andy. We dropped down to follow the beautiful Vermilion River, winding our way north. Our destination was Scott's Seaplane Base on Crane Lake, about as far north as a person can go in Minnesota before crossing into Canada. We set up to land at Crane Lake. Fairly calm winds allowed a final approach almost due south into the bay with Scott's dock. The key now was to keep a vigilant eye out for both air and boat traffic, because we get no special right of way for being an airplane. Scott's is a charming spot with more float traffic than I've ever seen anywhere else. It's a popular jumping off point for those headed north because of the fuel, and there's a U.S. Customs and Border Patrol office here for those coming south from Canada. After taking on a little fuel, we set course for home, but decided that the real fun was down on the Vermilion River. I talked the guys into landing in the middle of Vermilion Lake so I could shoot some footage of Andy and Patrick doing some takeoffs and landings. Arriving back at Sky Harbor, I pondered sitting out on the float with my camera. The sound of lapping water combined with screaming props is about the most relaxing thing I've experienced. The North Woods of Minnesota are a beautiful and amazing place, and exploring as a watercraft opens up endless possibilities. I bid Gary farewell and watched his takeoff as I considered how I could return to the land of 10,000 lakes.
Smoking. See the size of those. I mean, you can put a person in there.
Don't tell customs that.
Yeah. Hey, 180. See the big-tailed 180.
Yeah. The Skywagon 2.
Check out the stone fence thing there on the leading edge of that wing. Isn't that different?
Yeah, right up at the root, huh?
I've never seen that. Look at that bug ailerons on this thing. Must have been parked under a yard light or something, eh? Isn't that wild? That's where the drooping ailerons.
Yeah.
Guess it makes quite a performance.
So they droop both ailerons just like a little bit.
I think they're going up to maybe 20 degrees. I'm not sure. You know, some guys complain about it because they claim you lose some aileron coming in, but I would think with a float plane where you're generally dealing with a straight on wind, the aileron isn't as critical, but I'm betting this one's got a big motor and it's got a 3-blade Hartzell on there, so I bet it's a 550 or something.